Welcome back. This is the Big Small Business Show. In order to create a positive working environment for your employees, you could consider giving them hard or soft benefits. Now, joining me in studio today is Val Nichas, who's going to be talking to us about the difference between the two.
Look, I think the hard immediately focuses on financial issues, so it's financial implications for the company. So a lot of the hard benefits are the ones we know. So it's bonuses, leave, additional initiatives, paid leave, stuff like that.
Right.
And then soft benefits generally seem to be more lifestyle benefits, or sort of what the Americans would call perks.
Right.
Not those. So it's little things, and they vary. I mean, you'll find a lot of the forward-thinking and leading companies, or the ones that are voted top employer of the year, those offer lots of small ones. So it's anything from free coffee to free beer, from wellness clinics or wellness centers to free gym vouchers. Others give points for good performance, which ends up giving them a free hour's massage. So the soft ones are probably things that don't have a big financial implication to the company. They do cost, but they're not huge financial benefits, and they're more lifestyle benefits, I would say.
So would you say that from an entrepreneurial point of view, especially in the sort of the growing years where you're competing with corporates for talent, that's sort of the time to really embed that kind of soft benefit culture?
Yes. I think you've also got to be sure that you know who your team is, and maybe also find out what's important to them. So you'll find that when you employ a lot more women, you'll find things like flexible working hours, working from home, more vacation time or holiday time, leave is important to women more than it is to men. So I think you've probably got to just get close to your people. Because I know I chat with HR specialists, and they often say, don't be fooled. It's a fantasy that the benefits just come for free. It comes with something. So even if you take the leading companies like Google and Apple that offer many and various soft and hard benefits, it comes with a price. They don't give you free dinner because you're going to have it at home. They give you free dinner because you are expected to work long hours and put in the time.
The one thing that also is very important for businesses is purpose. You know, that it's also maybe a soft benefit as well, that I come to work to do something, not make glasses, but to change the world in somehow, that there's some purpose associated with what I do.
Yes, and I think companies are also starting to change the terminology. Often we had vision statements.
Yes.
A lot of companies are saying, well, what is my purpose? So, for example, Walmart, they talk about making things possible for poor people. I can't remember the exact wording, but they're saying we can bring certain goods at the reach of people that don't have lots of money, and that's a wonderful thing to have a mission like that, or a vision that says we'll make it possible for people to have what rich people have. So I think companies are even talking a bit more about the purpose.
You work with companies in terms of these kinds of things. One of the other criticism I feel good, because this is something very close to my heart, and something that I think I battled through myself as an entrepreneur, is the notion of campaigns versus culture. So very often a company will come up and they'll have a campaign. You talk about, let's call it the massage thing, and a whole wellness month. But like after a while that dissipates and it doesn't form part of the culture. How do you move from campaign to culture?
Okay.
Do you hear the question?
No, it's an interesting one, because I also don't really buy into the smiley badges and big posters in the foyer of when you have these, even when they launch the values. The way you shifted, because culture is there already, actually. I always say that to companies who say we need to surface our values. The culture exists. That's why it's important to try and unpack it with even the bottom end of the staff right up to the top layer, in terms of how are we currently behaving. The only way to shift culture or to shift behavior is to ensure that you turn it into actions. So when we say We want a company that acts with integrity. What do you have to do to act with integrity, to strive for excellence, or whatever those words are?
What does it mean?
Yeah, what does it mean, and how do I do it? So unless you can turn it into an action, it's not going to happen. So we try and set some behaviors. We say, okay, we're going to set a standard that if our customer is first, are we answering customer calls within 6 hours or 12 hours, whatever standard you say, or 3 hours? Are we checking our work before we submit it? And it sounds very petty, but those are standards. And that's what forms culture. And then the other important thing to always take into account when you look at how organizational behavior forms or how culture forms, it happens in 3 sort of layers, because I arrive at a corporate or a company, and I've arrived with my personal values, my family values that have been ingrained in me from little. I then get that mixed in with my departmental or brand values, whichever division I'm in or department, and those are quite influenced by the leader of that division. So in a big organization where there are lots of brands, for example, you'll find a slight different culture depending who's leading which brand. And then the third one is the company values. So those combined make up the company culture. And that's why sometimes people don't survive in companies, because there might be something in the value of the company that just doesn't fit with their own personal value. But you've got to change it back to behavior. How do I act? And I always love coming back to homes. So what happens in our families? We have certain rituals and cultures, values. So when granny's in the house, you get up when she walks in, or you serve her first. You don't swear at the dinner table. You know, those are behaviors that make up a culture of a family. The same thing happens in corporate.
That's a good place to leave it. We've run out of time.
Okay.
I think this culture, this discussion around culture is an important one, and I see too often with small businesses that they think that's the domain of big business.
No.
It's the domain of small business. It's actually even more important with small business. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and responding to all my all the criticisms that I've heard out there.
Thank you, Alan. Good to see you again. Thanks.